It might be hot outside right now. That will soon change, believe me. And just because it's hot outside doesn't mean it's not freezing inside the library or your cubicle or at church or wherever you are inside. With this adorable accessory, which works as a hood, it covers your shoulders, it can even cover your arms and work as a sleeve. You don't have to worry about freezing when you don't want to. Plus, it's super functional, super versatile. You can change it around, wear it how you want, put it on with your favorite jean jacket or cardigan or dress or whatever. I'm about to show you how to make this right here. Super easy, beginner friendly. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to another tutorial. I am going to be showing you how I make this checkered twist wrap. And it is super easy. It is super easy, as a matter of fact. And here's the yarn I'll be using. It is my favorite yarn to use for these type of projects. It's from Hobby Lobby, Yarn Bee, soft and sleek, low pill fiber. I've noticed when crocheting with it, it does not give off a lot of little pieces of material floating through the air like some other yarns I have found. And it's really soft and fun to work with. So that's what we're using, plus a 6.5mm crochet hook, which we will use for the entirety of this project. I have a written pattern for this as well, and you can find that in the link below on my website or Etsy. And what I am doing with this video, because this is so easy, I'm really just making this tutorial to show you like a little bit of just the nuances on how I make this project neat. But if you're a beginner, have no fear, be excited because this will be easy to make. If you are an experienced crocheter, be excited because this will work up super duper fast. And then you'll have yourself a nice accessory for the coming cool weather. So let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start out with our slip knot, and then we will go ahead and chain 67 chains. All right, we're at 67, and we're going to crochet into the 6th chain from the hook. So, of course, here's the first one, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, right here. That was a little weird how I showed you, so let me just show you one more time. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is where our treble crochet is going to go. I'm going to flip this over so that I'm crocheting into the back bump. I'll double check again, just count one more time to make sure I'm seeing everything clearly from the back. And I'm going to count the back bumps. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is where I'm going. So treble crochet means yarn over 2 times, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and to finish, we will yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 a second time, and yarn over, pull through 2 a final time. That is a treble crochet, and that is going to be the majority of this project. It makes a taller stitch. It looks like a double crochet, but it's taller and it's going to work up faster for you. This right here counts as your first treble crochet, and this is your second one. We're going to make one more in the very next chain. So yarn over 2 times, go into your stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've got now 3 treble crochets because this one counts. And we're going to chain 1, skip 1 chain, and make 3. We'll put one treble crochet in each of the next 3. So skip this one and crochet in here. And the next one. And one more here. That's what we're going to do until the end, until we get pretty much to the end of this row. We'll have 3, chain 1, skip 1, 3, chain 1, skip 1. So skip this one, treble crochet, treble crochet, treble crochet. And of course, I always like to crochet into the back bump of our foundation chain. I'm showing you why. See how neat the bottom of that is? This is going to be important later on when it's time to seam up the wrap. Having these defined stitches or these defined chains to work into to sew is going to make it extremely easier to know what you're doing and see your stitches. So I'll meet you when we get almost to the very end of this, and I'll show you how to finish off the row and go to your next one and start your repeats. All right, so we're almost to the end here. So this is how our row is looking. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 chains remaining to work into, which is perfect because that's my chain 1, here's my skip 1, and my final 3. The beginning of my row should match up with the end of my row. If I started out with 3 treble crochets, I should end with 3 treble crochets. And I'll show you the same for the following row. It should be the same way. And now we're no longer working in chains, so this will get much easier and faster. So there we go. That's the end of the row, the beginning of the row. For row 2, we are going to chain up 5. And what I suggest is 1, 2, 3. Those can be regular, but make sure that you're not pulling tight on 4. See how that one's a little bit bigger? Or 5, because you will crochet into these chains, not around them, but into them when you come back. So just a little pointer there. Because we're doing checkers now, this one will be an open space. This one will be 3. This will be an open space, like a checkerboard. So we're going to skip, and your chain up 5 counts. Oh, don't mind the computer fan sound in the background. But your chain up 5 counts as a treble crochet and a chain 1. So we're not working into this space right here because this belongs here. What we are going to work into is this, because this is a chain. This is your treble crochet and your chain 1. So we're skipping this second stitch and treble crocheting here. Treble crochet into the next stitch, which is this chain right here. We're not crocheting around the chain. We're going to crochet into this chain. So the chain, you can see the V on top and the little bump on the bottom. That's where we're going, between the 2 strands on the top and the 3rd strand on the bottom. Crocheting into the chain is going to anchor your stitch there so it doesn't slide back and forth, and you'll always have the uniform look. And then we place 1 more treble crochet in the very next stitch. So we're still working 3 treble crochets, chain 1, skip 1 across, but we just started out slightly different because we have our open space, like our window box here on the end. So chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet here, treble crochet into the next stitch, which is this chain space, and treble crochet into the next stitch. So we do 3 treble crochets, chain 1, skip 1, all the way across. If you have any questions about what I'm doing or saying, just let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer your questions. Because once you get the hang of this, you'll be rolling. You can bust this out in no time. And you'll soon see the method as to why you're crocheting this way. Because if you take a look at it, you can already see the checkered pattern. So I'll meet you at the end of this round, at the end of this row. All right, so I'm almost to the end. I need to work into this chain. And this stitch here. And because the beginning of this row started out with I'm calling these like window spaces right here, the end of my row should end the same way. And I'm on par to do just that. So I'm going to place my chain 1, skip 1. And remember, this is my treble crochet from the first row. So at the top of this chain, it's a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in this chain right here is where I'm going to place my final treble crochet of this round. And there's my last window space for round 2, for row 2. Y'all gotta, please forgive me. I keep saying round. I'm so used to working in rounds. But this is rows. Okay. So row 3. We're very similar to row 1, except we're now working into these stitches instead of working into the chain. So the verbiage will be a bit different, but it's all spelled out for you in the pattern. So head on over to my website or to my Etsy shop and pick that up if you would like to read how to make this. And for row 3, we're going to chain up 4 instead of 5. Your first 3 are fine, but make sure to loosely chain on 4 because you're going to crochet into that when you get back. And treble crochet into the next stitch, which is this chain right here. So go into the chain, treble crochet, and into the very next stitch, treble crochet. So now you started out with 3 treble crochets just like you did on row 1. Got them here, and then the row 2 you had the window space. Row 3 you start out with 3 treble crochets. Chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet in the next, 3 stitches. Chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet in the next, 3 stitches all the way across. I'll meet you at the end, and after that you're pretty much home free for the majority of this project. I'll be coming back to show you how to seam it and do the borders. All right, finishing up row 3. We started with 3 treble crochets, so we're going to end with 3 treble crochets. So what I had told you before about making sure you chain loosely on your 4th and 5th chain on row 2 when you started it is what I mean here, because you're going to crochet, this is your 5th chain and this is your 4th chain. You're going to crochet into them, and if they're tight, it's just a struggle that it doesn't necessarily have to be. So treble crochet into that 5th chain from row 2 and into the 4th chain from row 2. And there you go. See how crocheting into the stitches anchors them there, makes it they don't slide back and forth and make your stitches look weird. Everything looks nice and neat and secure. And that is how your project is starting out. As you continue this on, you will repeat rounds 2 and 3 for the length of this. And I will come back and show you after I get to my set number of rows, which I will put here, how to seam this up and start on your borders. All right, so here I am showing you how I am going to fold the actual finished rectangle and turn it into the twisted wrap, or how we need to fold it so that it can be seamed up. For me, I have crocheted 58 rows, and whenever you are making this, you want to make sure that you end on a row 2 repeat, because you started on a row 1, which is the same as row 3, so you want it to be alternated. You will end with one of these instead of one of these. So let's just double check to make sure I did that. And uh-oh, my last couple stitches came loose. So let's repair that. Well, not couple stitches, my last stitch. So we're just gonna repair this and get ready to start stitching it up. Almost finished this project. I've been working on this on and off for like the last week, honestly, because I haven't just sat here and devoted all my time to it, just because I got other stuff going on. But I think, you know, this could take place in a few days, depending on how fast you work and how much time you're devoting to your project. So I am going to pull through a loop that I consider to be maybe at least twice as long as the width of the top of this. That will go from at least here to here, but 2 times, so that you have, because we're going to whip stitch through here, and you want to make sure that you have more than enough to do just that. And I hate snipping yarn that I know I'm getting ready to reattach in just a moment, but that's what we got to do if we're going to sew it. So let's do that. So here I am. I have pulled my yarn through so that I can get ready to start seaming up this wrap. So I got my yarn needle, and I'm going to show you how I work this. All right, taking a careful look at each stitch that we have. Here's the one I just completed where my yarns come out, and here's where we're beginning on our foundation chain. So every single sewing stitch that I make, I'm going to align to make sure that I don't get thrown off, because when I seam this up, I want, once I'm done with the seam, I want it to look seamless. So I'm going to insert my needle in the top of this stitch here and make sure I find the corresponding spot on the other side. If this is the first treble crochet, I know my next stitch is this chain, and then my next one is here. On this side, my first 3 stitches are the bottom of these treble crochets. So I'm on the first one, I'm going to insert here. And I want to make sure I'm not splitting the yarn. So you can kind of see there is a space underneath both of these strands. That's why I will insert that and pull through. How you like to seam it, of course, is up to you. You know, it doesn't have to be this way, but this is how I like to do it for neatness and to make sure that this is how it seems the most seamless and the least bulky. So my very next stitch, I know, because this is one of those window spaces, is this chain. So I make sure I go into the chain right there and not through the strands of yarn. My second stitch on this side is this one here. So I go up underneath these 2 strands and sew. My third here is this one right here, the one right after the chain space. My third here is this one right here. All right, my next one here, and over here now on this side I have reached a chain space. I'm just trying to make sure I don't get the tail of the yarn mixed up in there. Next, and next. Back to chain space on the first side. And there we go. I want to make sure that everything's lined up. So just continue to work that way until you have sewn together every stitch. I will show you when I get to the end and how mine look. Okay, we have whip stitched our way to the end, and here is how I'm going to show you how I do the last couple stitches. So we want to make sure that we don't just end with seaming in this last treble crochet, but this right here, this chain space, is a stitch to us, and so is the bottom of this. This represents the bottom of our chains, which all throughout this pattern has represented a treble crochet. Same here. We've got, of course, this treble crochet that came out of the foundation chain, but this chain here also represents the bottom of this set of chains, which also represents a treble crochet. So we want to make sure we get those last 2 stitches. So I'm going to insert, just like I'd been before, in the bottom of this chain, and over here into this treble crochet. And finally, our very last stitch, which is this chain right here, the one right next to the chain space, and this chain right here. That seams up our last 2 official stitches of this project before we start with the border. I like to just go ahead and go one more time through here just to give me an anchored kind of corner. And then I will make a knot because that's what I do. Not going to cut the yarn just yet. I'm going to crochet over it a bit but I feel like that gives me like a real for sure stopping place. And that is how our seam looks from this side. And from this side, not too shabby. You know, you'd have to be looking for it to see it, especially since it's all one color, which I love this color, by the way. So, starting on the border, I'd often stop and weave in ends up to this point, but I'm on a roll. So here's where I begin my border and how I do that. Usually when I'm crocheting a border, I would size down my crochet hook, but that's not necessary with this project. I go working on with the same exact hook size, in this case, 6.5 millimeter. So I'm going to take my yarn and attach it here at the bottom of this treble crochet, well, these chains, which are a treble crochet. I'm going to insert right here. You attach your yarn, however you attach yarn. It'll be fine. I just grab and pull it through and chain one, pull it tight. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and tie that now. I'm gonna tie this to that tail we just had from seaming, because that seems like a good idea for me. So pull it tightly. And now I'm ready to start single crocheting. I'm going to be working into the sides, obviously, for the border. So that means we're going to be working into actual chains and into actual treble crochets. So it's about numbering. How many can you get in there with this size hook without making it, look distorted? I'm going to place one right here in the same stitch, one single crochet. And also I am making sure to crochet over these tail ends as well. Save me from doing some weaving in of ends later. All right, so single crochet. What has worked for me and what I will suggest to you is to place, whether it's this or this, whether it's the chains or the actual treble crochet, is basically like 3 single crochets per. However, 2 in the actual sides here, and then 1 in this space. 2 in the actual sides here, and then 1 in this space. 2 in the actual sides here, and then 1 in this space. So 2 and then 1. That has given me like a pattern to follow, because crocheting into the side of your work can be challenging. So I make sure I go through the actual side of my work, not around it. You can crochet around if that's what you prefer. I like to go through, but you do you. This is your project. So I put 2 in the sides there, and the sides of the actual chains, and I'm going to put 1 in this space right here. And now I'm going to crochet into the sides of this actual treble crochet. I try to go under 2 strands. I don't like to go under just 1. To me, I feel like it might stretch or something. I don't know. But I go under 2. And over here as well, I find a space where I can go under 2 strands. And then I place the next one in this space. And that is how I will continue this border. So as you work this, you will notice Or you might notice that the length of time it takes to work around this to make your border might seem pretty long. And that's because now that you've twisted it, you're not just going around the outer edge of it like a circle, but you're going around the outer edge of it and then around the other edge of it, like that. So it'll seem kind of twice as long, if that makes sense. I'm gonna just do a couple more. They don't have to be in any particular spot, just as long as you're able to crochet without bunching or warping. All right, so once you have made it all the way around back to where you started for the border, you're going to slip stitch in there. And the border options are definitely up to you for you to make how you want. I'm going to do one more round of border, single crochet, and you can see how it has come out, made it look so nice and neat. But this time, because this twisted wrap doesn't always face one side, you know, is wrong side, one side is right side, everything is like reversible. So depending on how you put it on, you know, you might be seeing one side or another. That's why I'm going to turn and work the other direction for the second row of single crochet. For the second row of single crochet, so that there doesn't look like there's a wrong side, like the border might not show up back side only or front side only. And that's why I choose to do that. So I'm going to work a single crochet into this first stitch and each single crochet all the way around, which will give me 2 rows of single crochet. And after that, you weave in your ends and you got yourself a gorgeous, absolutely adorable, multifunctional, multi-purpose wrap, shawl, hood. Got yourself an accessory. Super easy peasy.